Hey guys, welcome back. Corstian, hope you're doing well. Um, yeah, it's I I'm lost for words because I said this team was a pretender, being a loyal fan compared to
hmm
all the NFC teams, and they just went out there. What do? They just they just demolished the Eagles. So I'm not gonna do the good, better, best chant because I don't want to burst Corstian's audio and your eardrums without warning. But imagine me watching that on repeat. That was me on like after Black Friday. Man, I was on vacation too. My parents
hmm
my parents and my brother were so annoyed. They're like, "How many times are you gonna play these Bears locker room stuff?" And I'm like, "Can't get enough of it." But
Yeah.
I will stop beating around the bush. Bears number one seed in the NFC. I
Ain't
did
that
not have that
crazy?
in my bingo card going into December, considering where this team finished last season and the holes on the roster that I perceived, they're playing out of their mind. So I am good as they can be. Koshan, how are you doing?
I'm doing pretty good too. But yeah, no, Bears. What a game from Chicago, man. Yeah. While I had questions about the Bears roster construction as a whole, I was a firm believer in the Ben Johnson effect. So I'm happy for the success here. Honestly, we've talked about Coach of the Year in the past, but I really do believe uh, Ben Johnson probably should be Coach of the Year. Like, just with how good just Chicago is doing right now, and it's not like a knock to Kyle Shanahan, obviously, or Mike Vrabel, but the Ben Johnson turnaround is something else, man.
Yeah, I mean, only reason why I wanted Rabel over him is because I knew Rabel was proven,
hmm
and he was a proven team leader. He was going to get the most out of the roster, and I was worried this was going to be a Nagy 2.0. But
hmm
then I see his infectious energy on the defense
hmm
side as a coach and trusting Dennis Allen to be that way. But then
hmm
even the GM, he's not pull like so many resources. He's not made a deal for Max Crosby like we did for Khalil Mack. He's only just trusted the head coach. They're in alignment.
hmm
The head coach is getting buy-in from all 11 players on the field. And yes, they're running trick plays, much like Matt Nagy is running, but this is different. Like you see Caleb developing. You see this offensive line like playing as one unit. You're seeing the defense getting takeaways, and yeah, the takeaways are insane right now, but they're earning these wins. They're
hmm
not getting like 6 or 7 pick sixes or fumble sixes to win.
hmm
This is this is a team that's scrapping and clawing and a physical team,
hmm
and that's going to travel throughout the playoffs. So
hmm
I don't think this is a Matt Nagy 2.0. I think it's the real deal, and that Eagles win showed
hmm
that. Now, with that being said, and Ben Johnson said it himself, the Bears haven't even clinched the playoff spot.
Yeah.
Like the gap between that the Lions on the outside looking in and the Bears as a number one seed is 2 games.
hmm
2 games in the NFC. So it is very real that they could be out of the playoffs if they lose the Packers and the Lions. And I think we talked about this offline. So if we're if that happens and the Bears are suddenly 9-6 as a result of those and they'll have played other games, but they have
hmm
6 losses because of the division. It's very likely they're out of the playoffs because the Lions could run the table, as crazy as that might sound, and Green Bay wins the division or
hmm
something like that. That's a scenario that can happen. So I am really worried for Sunday's game. Just
hmm
knowing how these games played out in the past Bears history. But I will say this, a tiny bit of me is not afraid anymore of what the Bears might do because of
hmm
the Ben Johnson effect this year. Like the Bengals game is something any Bears team in the past 15 years would have lost in that position.
hmm
Like the Raiders game, like they could have easily lost. And seeing how they started against Minnesota, like that week 1, I'm like, okay, here we go again. But I'm just seeing all these games, and right now I'm full believer. They
hmm
achieved my goal of 9 wins this season. and it's not, and they haven't even played a December game yet. So
Mm-hmm.
Bears, I'm sorry I doubted you as a pretender when I labeled you as such, even being a fan. I am happy with the way this season's turned out. I just want you guys to maximize as much as you can. I'm not saying go to the Super Bowl, but please, please beat the Packers. Please win the NFC North. That's my plea.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I'd be so like annoyed if the Bears lost to the Ravens is what really comes back to haunt them, because I look back to that
Don't
game,
do that.
right?
Don't put that out in the universe, Corstian. Don't do it, please.
But it's like a Lamar-less Ravens is the team that you lose to, especially like especially you manhandle the Eagles, right? And so like it's just crazy, but obviously huge season for the Bears. Yeah, even if you don't, Bears aren't winning the division necessarily, we obviously there's a couple games still. The fact that at one point in the season, late in the season, Chicago is the number 1 seed in the NFC, not just the division, is actually so crazy.
Yeah,
And like you got to put respect on
had we
that.
not lost to the Vikings week 1, the way we did,
Mm-hmm.
we would have the same record as the Patriots. Or I
Mm-hmm.
don't know if the Patriots had their bye yet, but yeah, we would have the same record as the Patriots. That's crazy to me.
Mm-hmm.
Alrighty.
Crazy.
Speaking of which, let's go into the film because, believe it or not, in true Homer fashion, I have the Bears film first. So we'll do that here. Reference the offensive line earlier, but I just want you to see how Ben Johnson and this run game works in tandem with each other. It's quite remarkable when you see this. So I'll zoom in. I kind of full screen this, but it's just a basic pitch to Swift.
Mm-hmm.
But look at the creases that are being formed, and we'll kind of play this back like as we're talking through it. But you have Dahlman already going up to linebacker. You have Komet taking on a D tackle. Like this is just crazy work. Like it's enough to like get into the second level, and like Sidney Brown is not a great tackler, and they just once the Bears reached the second and third levels, they just had their way. Like even this stuff where like Caleb is a motion threat and DJ Moore motion, it's just not fair. And when you get the buy-in from like um Roma Dunze right there, just like lining up and putting his all the block and then the jet sweeps and just like everything happening at once. It's not just wide zone,
Mm-hmm.
it's all gap scheme. Kyle Monongai, DeAndre Swift had heck of a games. Like, but this O line is just great. Look at Colson Loveland blocking there. It just is this is ridiculous.
Mm-hmm. It's good stuff, man. And like, I think like on top, like the Eagles defense just looked so gassed throughout the entirety of this game too. We're just like the fact that you have over 200 rush yards in this game. Wasn't this like one like I remember I saw like I don't remember what year, dang it, I forget, but like there's like a stat showing like the last time the Eagles let over like this many rush or like over 200 rush yards in a game like in total or whatever, and it's been quite some time. And then what's extra crazy too is just the fact that we know that the Eagles in particular have been a team that have really invested in like their front seven on defense, and it's been like this is kind of the specialty of this Eagles defense. It's like, yeah, they were able to draft 2 good young cornerbacks last season in the draft, but like prior to that, it's been consistently linebacker, defensive end, defensive tackle, then another linebacker, then you get like I don't know, like a box safety or something, so it's like they've been investing in this just for then the Bears to tear them apart like this. And then also Eagles offense, man, what's even happening?
Even that AJ Brown touchdown, like that was all AJ Brown. If you look at the placement of that ball by Jalen Hurts, like that was not a good placement. Like it's sometimes Jalen Hurts not having the right placement. It's the play calling. I don't think it's just a Kevin Patullo thing. Like this is just a whole thing, like with the entire team on down. And
Yeah.
I just want to make a little nugget of this because I don't want to spend too much time on it. But for the people that egged Kevin Patullo's house, that's just tasteless, man. Like you have to understand, like at the end of the game, at the end of the day, they're trying their hardest. Like they're employed, they're paying money to do this, and um, yeah, I get you're frustrated, but it is not just a Kevin Patullo thing. He's been bad. They need a new play caller, but even a new play caller is not going to solve some of the issues that the Eagles had coming off the Super Bowl. Their offensive line is not the same. Their consistency from their star players is not the same, and like you need to fix those things like
Mm-hmm.
before uh, like they're not they're not doing some of the things that you expected out of their offense last season where you're like,
Mm-hmm.
oh, this worked last season. Let's incorporate elements of this because it's worked in the past.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a number of things going around, and I just think egging somebody's house is not productive. It's not going to solve anything. And the Eagles have far more issues than just Kevin Patullo right now.
Yeah, like Saquon sucks.
I didn't say that, but he's
I'm
yeah.
joking, but like,
There's
yeah.
some misalignment there. I've always
Mm-hmm.
said that I think Nick Chubb is as equal, if not a better runner than Saquon because of the technical foundations. But
Mm-hmm.
Saquon, to his credit, has built that up. And I always loved the move to Philly because it was a great situation for him.
Mm-hmm.
But if you're asking him to be a technically sound runner when defenses take the scheme away from you, they're loading the box and they know what concepts and it's predictable. Saquon's not the type of guy to get out of it unless he's just athletically superior than
Mm-hmm.
the other guy. And
Mm-hmm.
there's not a lot of people that can athletically match Saquon.
Yeah.
So, like that's a reason why he's a superstar running back, right? But conceptually, as an offense, if you don't do anything to support your skill position players, then this is why like all these superstars that just lit the world on fire a season ago are not performing because you're not marrying it to the scheme, and then you're not getting the buy-in from the superstars doing the technical things right on a consistent basis enough to make it work. So that's my TED talk on that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
All right, but let's not detract us from the Bears. Great run game,
Oh yeah.
great
No.
opportunities there. All right, I hate to do this, but Dontavian Wicks, you had yourself a game. We'll just flip through the highlights here. Every single target he had. Um, Not a great decision by Jordan Love. That was terrible. Um, Great double move. When I saw this, like watching back, I thought it was a touchdown in real time, but terrible call. But if they don't overturn that, then that's a heck of a catch. Like
Mm-hmm.
that's a hard catch to make, regardless of whether you got
Yeah.
2 feet in bounds or
Mm-hmm.
not. But what are you seeing here from Dontavian Wicks?
um, I mean, it's just like, I don't know, like it feels like it's always like the Packers receiver of the week is a different guy. Which shows, I mean, just like the overall depth that they have, but like we've seen, I mean, in the past, like Dontavian Wicks, I feel like has been a guy that, oh, I mean, like maybe a slightly above casual NFL fan, probably has some knowledge of, and that's because we've seen these types of performances before. The issue is, I think, especially with a lot of these Packers receivers, is just their overall drop rates. And here we see a game where those drops, I guess, that we have seen from him throughout the first part of the season, haven't quite been there. And obviously, it results in him like actually having a phenomenal game here. But yeah, because I think he
Yeah,
is
I
a
mean, the
sound
thing that
route
stands
runner. I
out to
think.
me is that fourth down. I
Mm-hmm.
think that encompasses that he should be getting the ball more. Like he's a guy like that's Brian Branch over there. That's like a very like all pro caliber talent in like during the peak of the season.
Mm-hmm.
But like you're looking at, yes, he's getting schemed open some like a Tucker. He's getting some of the Tucker Craft routes in this
Mm-hmm.
offense. But like when you see him win man on man in high leverage situations like the fourth down that kind of ice the
Mm-hmm.
game, like that shows the amount of trust that Jordan Love has in him. And
Mm-hmm.
I think even with a Matthew Golden, Romeo Dobbs, and Jaden Reed fully coming back, like he's still a guy that's going to be trusted in like these
Mm-hmm.
types of scenarios. So it's good to see that the Packers have that and they have a reliable target amidst all these injuries. And
Mm-hmm.
he's an underrated talent in my opinion. Like
Mm-hmm.
if you're looking for a wide receiver too, he's a great fit for any offense.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And then another mini side note, but like Christian Watson's also been playing really good football ever since he's been back from injury.
That deep pass that Jordan Love had,
Mhm.
like their first drive of the second half was just insane. Like Christian
Mhm.
Watson's always been good at that, but I think they finally figured out how to use him well with Jordan Love. So yeah,
Yeah.
every game by Christian Watson as well.
Mhm. Yeah. And like, I mean, because like we've known that like when he's healthy, he can be a good wide receiver. It just literally his whole career, he's played like 4 games a season, right? And you're, I mean,
Yeah,
that's obviously an exaggeration, but like, that's just been the knock on him.
knock
And
on
then we
wood for
see,
that.
yeah, right. And then just the fact that he's consistently being a problem. It looks for like opposing defenses um, during this healthy span of his right now.
Mhm.
I think there's. I mean, obviously, I don't watch. I didn't watch the entirety of this game, but I think there's a chance that it opens up the field for guys like Dontavian Wicks, Romeo Dobbs, to kind of have more options or opportunities to have like lighter coverage. Because I mean, you think back um, just like 4 weeks ago, and it was Romeo Dobbs, Dontavian Wicks, and Luke Musgrave is kind of your 3 leading receiving options, and like I think they're fine enough players, but um, the fact that you can put your number one cornerback on a Dontavian Wicks is obviously a lot harder of a game for him than when you have to put that corner on Christian Watson, and then you have a
Or
safety
Dobbs,
or you
yeah.
right.
Like any of these like equal talent. In my opinion, Dubs and Watson are equally talented. They have different skill sets, but equally
Mhm.
talented is a Dontavian Wicks. It's just Wicks. We talk about the technical aspect. Like
Mhm.
he's not like an athletically gifted player, although some of the catches you see show
Mhm.
otherwise, but his technical prowess is really sound. And
Mhm. Yeah.
that's the thing to take away here. So
Yeah.
alrighty. Um let's talk about Carolina because they did the Bears a solid as usual and gave us the number one seed.
Yeah.
Bryce Young had a heck of a game, but I kind of want to watch the whole offense and see how did they manage to put up 31, or sorry, 24, I should say, against the Los Angeles Rams defense. This may not look like much, but the timing on this play by Bryce Young is huge. If he doesn't get that ball out as quick as he did, the Chuba Hubbard, for him to be able to run after the catch, this touchdown doesn't happen. So just the thing that stands out to me is the quick decision making. Like it's a lot sharper. Okay, getting angle number 4 of this touchdown. So sweet. I want to see the replay of this. Was it? I don't think it was tipped. I think this is just a bad ball. Hopefully they show this. Nope, they don't. Okay, whatever. That is just a crazy interception by Jackson. He ran the route for Puka. So this one's a little bit on Puka too because he didn't sell inside like a
Mhm.
little bit. So like that is where he has to grow as a route runner, and I'm hoping, like, obviously Devontae Adams has probably helped him out a bit, and then like Puka's he's made insane grabs in this game too. But like that one is one of those like routes where like you wanna even for a basic out route, you still wanna create an outside leverage opportunity. And the advantage wasn't enough.
Mhm.
Great pump fake there. Great Bryce Young is being really decisive so far. That's what I'm noticing out in like 2 highlights.
Yeah, and then I think like another, like a huge part of just like the Panthers' overall success has been their defense and specifically Derek Brown. Now,
Yes.
like if you he's like if I mean if you look at the stat sheet, Derek Brown doesn't have quite the craziest stats, right? He has on this season he has 4 sacks, 4 tackles for a loss, and 9 QB hits. Um, but then if you look at just the overall team stats from last year to this
Great
season,
ball.
right? Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Carolina ranked 32 in yards allowed last season. They were the worst defense in the league last season, right?
Yeah. Sorry, I can't help but like Jalen Coker's like that's exactly what I'm talking about with
hmm
Puka. The way he sold inside to get up the field first is
hmm
that's great. And then you could see that on this play with the sack by the safety. Like how much of it I want to go back to that actually because I wonder if Derek Brown was on the field, but you see how much havoc was caused by the inside rush to create that lane.
hmm
That's like that D tackle created like at least he dragged like 2 offensive linemen with him.
hmm
Like, that's just insane. Like
Yeah.
the violence and aggression he's playing with. Rico being Rico, that's
hmm
I had no idea why Chuba outtouched him other than that touchdown, but whatever.
hmm Yeah, but
Just wow.
yeah.
Bryce played out of his mind in this game. Like he did not seem flustered at all. Like, and
hmm
that's crazy because the Rams defense does a lot right. Like, and it's wow.
hmm
Like this, I think the thing to take away from this is like Bryce is comfortable in this new offense, and I know that 49ers loss was bad because off of 3 Brock Purdy interceptions to only muster 3
hmm
points initially was that's you can't have that happen. But
Yeah.
I think I think they're honestly turning the corner offensively outside of that game.
Yeah, and I think it's just like a lot more like with
Crazy.
overall consistency
Wow.
from Bryce Young because like again we've seen him have these really good games a couple times now this year, but then we've also seen him have games where you're like, is this really a starting caliber quarterback? You know, at times during the year too. So just getting that consistency, and I think there's like a lot of um, aspects or components to just the overall offensive success that this team has had. Obviously, I think one like Rico Dowdle just being kind of just emerging out of his success from last year too, but like he's playing good, right?
Yeah.
Jalen Coker, he was out for the first portion of the year, and he seems to like prototype as a really nice slot receiver for this team. And the fact that he's been out most of the season, and now you're having him back now healthy for 3 or 4 weeks, I think, at this point. Hunter Renfro, who's been in healthy scratch, I've heard from like just the Panthers camp in general that like he's almost being used as a wide receivers coach who's just signed on as a player for this team. And so you have like a like a wide receiver coach who's just like a veteran receiver who's been a lead at route running, helping a lot of these younger wide receivers. What Jalen Coker's in year 2, right? Xavier Leggett is what year 2 or 3, and then you have Ted McMillan, who's a rookie wide receiver. So it's an incredibly young wide receiver room. You even think about the tight end Jatavian Sanders, who's what in year 2, and he was hurt last year as well. So it's just a lot of young players that I think needed time to develop, and we're kind of seeing some of those, endeavors being rewarded right now.
Yeah. And I think with the two-headed backfield they got going on and like the
hmm
advantages Tet has now with a guy like Jalen Coker on the
hmm
opposite side of him, I think the sky's the limit for this Panthers team to continue adding pieces and make this
hmm
grow. Um, yeah, it's the one thing that worries me with Bryce Young is the size and how well that's
hmm
gonna hold up because we're seeing how size in the NFL for like sack avoidance
hmm
is really, really difficult. But like if you have a game like this where the protection's great, it doesn't matter. Like
hmm
yeah, full credit to Carolina Panthers. This is a full team win. Like from what I'm
hmm
seeing, like that was they put everything together. They were kind of like every game is a playoff game for them.
hmm
But they're just one game away from the Bucks. They're not far off.
Yeah.
They could end up division winners by this time. So we shall see how they do.
Which will be crazy. Yeah, but then I don't think I finished my statement of the defense earlier. So last
I
season
don't
they
want
were
you
ranked.
to. Just kidding. Just
Yeah,
kidding. Go ahead.
last
Go
season they were
ahead.
ranked dead last in yards per game, allowing about 404 yards per game. And then this season they're in the middle of the pack at about 330 yards per game. So they've cut off 70 yards a game on defensive side. And then you look back at last season, and Derek Brown was out the entire year last season too. And so now you have a fully healthy Derek Brown, which I think is the staple of this defense. I think he's the guy you build around.
Well, you got Horn, but I mean, as far as foundation of the defense, yes, I agree.
Yeah, I mean, like Horn's like elite, but it's like Horn covers one guy, and like all honesty, like I mean, that's the effect of a cornerback. Ultimately, it's like.
Did you watch his second Brock Purdy interception? That was insane. Like
Yeah.
he had no business being in the middle of the field. That wasn't his, but in general, I get your point.
Yeah, I mean, look at the Broncos, right? Pat Surtain's missed the last 4 or 5 weeks of football. Are you telling me that the Broncos have like genuinely missed Pat Surtain?
Well, that's because they have an insane secondary. And like, if it weren't for this past week, Riley Moss had not allowed a single touchdown. McMillan came out of nowhere, seems like, to the NFL public, and they have not missed a beat because their personnel is just insane this year from their secondary. But I do agree. Like, a superstar cornerback doesn't necessarily make a great defense. I think Horn would agree based on his past couple of years in Carolina. So I agree with you on Brown. I just didn't want you to forget about Horn. Its entire
I know Horn's good, but then I mean,
but as far as your argument about Derek Brown's impact, 100% agree. It's been a massive difference with the team,
right? Because I mean, you had Horn before. Derek Brown was the guy that was missing the most, and that's kind of like that's how you build like the successful teams, right? It's like, I mean, you can have great cornerbacks, but if you don't have that effective pass rush, to force the guys to get the ball out to these cornerbacks, like. That's where you struggle because again, if you could have Pat Surtain, Sauce Gardner, J.C. Horn, Derek Stingley as your 4 cornerbacks and just run dime packages the entire game. But like if you got a bunch of high school pass rushers, like you're gonna get pieced up on defense like in the pass game regardless because
3 tight end sets, baby.
Because like a cornerback can only like a good corner can only cover for so long until like the play just gets too messy and the guy manages to get open, right? It's like. Yeah. And so just having the elite presence back of Derek Brown, I think, is something that they really missed last season, which I think adds a lot to their overall effectiveness as a team this season.
Yep. And then one more bit about Jalen Coker, just on that last, ice the game catch. To see him being used in these high leverage situations, even that 4th down touchdown, that's a really, really good sign for this Panthers team. So do not sleep on Jalen Coker. He's here, and he's a very viable piece of this Panthers offense.
Yeah.
All right. This is just a short highlight compared to the ones I've shown so far. Look at Will Anderson doing his best Myles Garrett impression with a running start. Look how much he just drove right into Daniel Jones through the center. Crazy. I told you this now, but watch out for the Texans. This pass rush, this defense is for real. They're not putting up the crazy statistics from a turnover standpoint or sacks to show for it, but their overall scoring defense impact from this pass rush, you could see it on tape the entire time. Suddenly the AFC South is anybody's division. I don't think anybody thought this 3 weeks ago with the way the Colts were playing. Fortunately, with the Danny Dimes injury and some of the stuff that's happened with the Sauce injury and whatnot, Jacksonville's the division leader now, but the Texans are just 1 game behind both the Colts and the Jaguars. So this will be very, very interesting. I think the Texans are an example, one team that will get in the way of the Ravens, Bengals, or Chiefs missing the playoffs. This team is for real, and I think CJ Stroud's starting to figure it out on offense where he doesn't have to be Superman. And yeah, when you have this combination and a pass rusher like this, this is a playoff caliber team. So watch out, NFL. Texans are coming. They're hot right now.
Yeah, and I think to help out CJ Stroud, just the fact that Davis Mills was able to come in for 3 games and win all 3 of those games too shows that maybe I don't know how much it helps CJ Stroud necessarily like physically or whatever, but like it shows that he doesn't need to be like playing hero ball or like doing these outrageous plays in order for this team to win. Like this is a well constructed team where it's like he's allowed to have a down game and they can still manage to get a win, right? Whereas before, I think if like the offense struggles, I think we were seeing a lot of instances where CJ Stroud felt like he had to do something, extra in order to like keep the team in the game while they were like the defense was still doing its job and like they were still in the game. But then he acted like they were down maybe a little bit further than they should be just because the offense wasn't quite as clicking as hard. And then so with Davis Mills just being able to kind of step in and kind of just manage obviously. I mean, his first game back was like Davis Mills' first game in was phenomenal, right? But like
Right.
it wasn't they didn't ask anything of Davis Mills to be like, hey, we need you to, play the best, like we need you to play like Lamar Jackson or Josh Allen or Tom Brady, right? Like it was play your game of football, play your brand of football, and like it'll just work out. We're scheming for this, and then we're seeing it work out right here, right? And so now it's just CJ Stroud kind of having to acknowledge that the team around him is a good football team, and to let the scheming do its job because their coaches are doing a good job right now.
I'm really glad you brought up Davis Mills because I was actually watching this game from start to finish.
Mm-hmm.
And by the way, JJ Watt's doing a phenomenal job at CBS as a broadcaster. I enjoy listening to him and Greg Olson.
Mm-hmm.
If you just want to watch a football game, like even if you watch football all your life, like you will learn something new listening to guys like Greg Olson or JJ Watt break down the game. They're probably some of my favorite broadcasters.
Mm-hmm.
Just watching like a football game and having the TV on and listening to how they're deciphering things. As I'm like using my two eyeballs, not having to play down in the league, down in high school football. I haven't done any of that. Just trying to understand what is going on here. Like they did a phenomenal job, like breaking down the game as a aside. But one of the things brought up on the broadcast was like how Davis Mills and that 3-0 like stint he had helped CJ Stroud as a quarterback from a quarterback perspective. The difference between CJ Stroud and Davis Mills is very conceptually gifted. He's always has been at Stanford. There's a reason why the Texans had drafted him before CJ Stroud. The problem with Davis Mills is he wasn't athletically gifted as a top end NFL talent you see in Allen, Mahomes, Lamar, Joe Burrow, like those kind of cats. So he wasn't afforded the opportunity to show what he could fully do on a loaded Texans team. But he does a very good job of like short pass concepts, understanding where he needs to go with the ball. Don't waste time, hitch, roll, bam. At times, CJ Stroud, because his rookie season, he got all the big explosive plays and he was able to hit those. He's sometimes looking for those and not looking for the conceptual right answer and keeping the game simple and manageable
Mm-hmm.
from an offensive play style. So something they brought up is like how CJ Stroud had to just figure out like what is the pulse of this team and how do we just get wins? This defense will win most games for us, so let's not get in the way of that by turning the ball. Let's manage the game right.
Mm-hmm.
And from watching Davis Mills just find the conceptual open person, like CJ Stroud was able to channel some of his play, like his poor play as a result of not understanding conceptually what's going on. He was able to correct some of those things from a mental aspect of the game that helped him a lot. So you see guys like Jaden Higgins get involved, and then like Xavier Hutchinson get more involved because CJ Stroud is actively seeking out those checkdowns. So, yeah, losing Woody Marks hurt a bit for this game. He's having a phenomenal season too, but I think you're going to see a much better CJ Stroud towards the back half of the year as the Texans are fighting for a playoff spot.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay, alrighty. Last clip over here. I can't tell you how many times the Buffalo Bills ran the same play on the Steelers, and they just could not stop it. Like, I don't know if this is like good James Cook and Buffalo run game, or if this is just horrible Steelers adjustments and run defense. Like, but okay, that's just bad run defense there. But
Mm-hmm.
like I can't tell you how deflating it must feel to know a team is running the same exact concept any number of times, never mind like 26, and still able to have the same effectiveness. That is just ridiculous. James Cook and
Yeah.
maybe honestly, but go ahead.
Yeah, and I think it's like a bit of. I mean, like you've been saying, it's a bit of both. Where I think we've seen a couple of times throughout this season that the Steelers' defense has kind of sucked. Like they've let down Aaron Rodgers, I think, a handful of times. This Steelers defense, I think, made both of us think that the Jets might be a competitive team this year, which isn't that crazy after week one. Like,
I mean, week 1, anything could happen, but that is crazy.
but I mean, like a shootout between Justin Fields and Aaron Rodgers, like where Justin Fields is just lasering, like dotting up the Steelers defense. It's not a good look. Obviously, that's week 1. Things change, but then also, like James Cook also has been balling out throughout the entirety of this season. And so it's like just because a team is bad on defense doesn't take away necessarily from a player having a good game. So I mean, we look at like Rico Dowdle, right, earlier in the season, going back to the Panthers. His first 2 games in, where he was rushing like 200 yards for those first 2 games. It's like, sure, they're against weaker defenses, but it's still an impressive accomplishment nonetheless to do that. And then we're seeing the same thing here with James Cook, where it's like, sure, the Steelers may not have that great of a defense, but still, it's just like the fact that you can do the same thing and you just like win out anyways, just because you're better, is a really impressive thing for them. And it's like, as good as Josh Allen is, it's like it almost feels like you need, like, if the Bills want to make a really dangerous playoff run, they're going to need to figure out how to like run the offense through James Cook through elite defenses in the playoffs, is what my take is, I think.
And they have done that this
Mm-hmm.
past year too. Like even last year, they
Mm-hmm.
ran it for James Cook a large majority of the time.
Mm-hmm.
They just ran into a buzzsaw with the Chiefs that were able to like take that away. They were taking away a lot of running games en route to this. But like other positive signs to see, like Brandon Cooks immediately got involved. So like I think that's a signing. And then Keon Coleman got a touchdown. Like that was good to see him kind of turn some of the bad juju around of his own doing. But Dalton Kincaid coming back, like I think you'll start to see the the gravity that James Cook will bring like into the passing game once everything clicks on all cylinders.
Mm-hmm.
I just don't
Yeah.
know if they're going to be able to catch up to the Patriots because the Patriots just I get it, it was the Giants, but they just keep like looking impressive. So they might have to go on the road there, and this is a much needed win for Buffalo, who traditionally, like this season, has not done well on the road. So to have this kind of
Mm-hmm.
victory in late November, this is huge for this team.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Especially now, just with like, he's like, with how good the Patriots are too. It's really hard to like see the Bills taking the division away from. I mean, obviously, it's only like technically it's 3 games, but like the season's it's starting to wrap up real quick. You're gonna need a lot of things to go right for you for the Bills to beat the Patriots out for the division, right? And so now you're in this competition with the Texans, with the Steelers, the Chiefs, all 3 of those teams, which are now trying to like fight for that number 7 spot. And it's like the teams ahead of you in the playoffs, at least in the playoff picture, aren't really that much of chumps either, And so, yeah, it's good that they had a good game for their playoff hopes just this week.
Hey, already.
Mm-hmm.
I'm looking forward to this top 5. I want to see if you're going to put a particular team in. I'm going to let you take it away. I'm very curious to see your updated rankings based
Yeah.
on what you've seen this past week.
It was a really tough week to rank. Where a couple of the teams were. It's funny because we didn't see last week's teams because we took the week off. But this week, like my number 5 spot was probably the toughest spot of all of this. But I'll give my number 5 team right here. I don't even feel like this is the right number 5 team. I don't even like this team at 5 necessarily. I might change it. But for now, it is in fact the Green Bay Packers.
Okay.
I said I don't like this team at 5. Like looking at this list, I'm like, I probably
I don't
should
like it either, man. Okay, go ahead.
Number 4 are the Seattle Seahawks.
Okay.
Number 3 are the Denver Broncos. Number 2 are the New England Patriots. And then number 1 are the Rams, despite the loss.
Okay. What will it take for you to put the Bears at number 5?
Literally a win next week. They're at 6.
Okay. All right. Yeah, that's in line with most of the. Okay. So you are reasonable. I give you that. All right.
Yeah.
Now that my
I was like,
homerism ask is out of the way.
yeah, I was debating. I was like, should it be Green Bay or should it be the Bears? And I'm like I trust a hot Packers team more than like on a consistent basis than I do trust the Bears to get hot necessarily on like a game-to-game basis. And then so it's like a very marginal difference where it's like I think it's like if it's a scale of like a 10, right? It's like maybe like 7 out of 10 times I trust the Packers to be a team that's like this team gets going all the time, right? Or it gets super hot in the game. Whereas the Bears are like a 6 out of 10 games. I'm like, oh, this team's just gonna be firing on all cylinders, and so it's literally just like.
But. Do you expect this year's Bears to lose to the teams that Green Bay has lost in the fashion that they've lost? They lost to an Eagles team that the Bears just completely dominated with physicality in probably worse temperature conditions, I might add. Never played, or sorry, weather conditions. I won't say temperature. Worse weather conditions. Then they go ahead. They lose to the Cleveland Browns before Cleveland can even find a quarterback or some semblance of offense. And they lose to the teams that you're just boggling your mind over, like, how are you losing to these teams? And you think the Green Bay Packers are more consistent than the Chicago Bears right now? I don't know. I don't know about that.
For me, I think it comes down to I think the Packers have a better defense than the Bears.
Okay. Despite the Bears having more takeaways and leading the league in takeaways by at least like 4. I gotta check the numbers.
Okay, let's check the yards per game stat right now. Like, and that's what I think. Where it's like
the Bears give up a lot of yards, but
sure you have like the takeaways. I mean, which I think are like because the takeaways are a finicky thing to me as well. Because I think back, like with the Broncos with that second year with Russell Wilson, there was that 5-game streak of. That 5-game win streak that they had, which was incredible. Everybody's like, wait, are the Broncos back? But during that time, the Broncos defense was averaging 3 like turnovers a game. And like eventually like you can't necessarily rely on the turnovers at all times. That's what like my take is here, where it's like I look at the Packers schedule and like the games like that they do lose, it turns out like I don't know, like a couple of them just been really, really low scoring. Where it's like and like it's a joke of the offense to not be able to win those games because it's like it's a low scoring game. You should be expected to win those.
Cowboys game before they had Quentin Williams.
Right. And so like, I mean, that is the knock. And that's why I was even saying like, I don't even know, like literally I was debating putting the Bears at 5 just a second ago. Like, and so
I'm just giving you a hard time because
I know. And so it's like, sure, the Bears have all the turnovers, but then it's like, you can't be letting up like 42 points against the Bengals. I mean, they've been good, right? But then it's like the 28 points from the Steelers, and it's like, I mean, the Steelers have been putting up like, they've been putting up good scores against other teams too. But then it's like from a competitive team, it's not something you're very comfortable with. It's why I had such a hard time earlier in the season wanting to put the Broncos super high in these rankings because it's like,
where do you have the Broncos again? Speaking of which,
Broncos are at 3.
Oh, okay. Got it. I forgot who your number 3 team was. So, with that said, there's one team I want to monitor here. and I'm very curious to see where you have them ranked. Where do you have the Jacksonville Jaguars right now? After they have Jacoby Myers. Corstian, are you there? No, we lost them. Well, the world will never know those answers. But yeah, I'm just looking at some of the teams at the top that Corstian mentioned. I think the big thing to point out is like a lot of these teams are there for a valid reason. They've been at the top for a large majority of the season. And the big thing to look at here is like who can creep up to that top 5. The Bears with a win against the Packers definitely could, but then you're also looking at the Eagles, the Buccaneers. If they turn it around and suddenly figure it out on offense, and the Buccaneers get a little bit more healthy, the record is probably not indicative of what their potential is and stuff. So those are teams to look out for. But now that Corstian's back, one team I wanted to ask about is where do you have the Jacksonville Jaguars on this list?
The Jaguars are lower on this list. They're
even after Jacoby Myers and kind of the performance
yeah.
he's put out.
Yeah, like I have them at 18.
18?
And I'll have another caveat with this. There are wait, what was this? Okay, there are 21 teams in the league with a record of 500 and above.
Yeah.
So it's like 18, they're like one of the worst teams in the league, right? It's like a concept that you have, right?
Middle of the road, yeah.
Or no, there's 20 teams with a record over 500, I meant.
Oh,
but still, it's like 20 teams. So it's like the ranked 20 team technically is in the playoff race, right? And it's like, and that's the caveat. And it's more so like, I have these teams that I'm like, can they beat them with like a big question mark? I think there's a couple other teams that, because I'm not always happy with my own rankings, which is kind of funny because it's like they're my own, you know.
It's hard to rank. It really is.
Well, especially just like for me too. Like the Bengals, they jumped up a ton of spots with healthy Joe Burrow, and so it's like, do the Bengals make the playoffs? Probably not. But that doesn't change the fact that they are a good team with a healthy Joe Burrow and could realistically be a top 10 team in the league, not even close to the playoffs, right? Just because the team with Joe Burrow is in fact a good team. I knocked the Buccaneers down quite a bit because initially I thought Baker Mayfield would be injured for a lot longer, but it looks like he's back. But they're going to climb up slowly, I guess, because I look at the other teams on this list and I'm like, how do I move these guys around, right? Like,
yeah.
Because like what the teams ahead of them that I argue, right? Or like the 1, 2, 3, 4, the 5 teams ahead of the Jaguars. I have the Buccaneers, the Cowboys, the Bengals, the Chargers, and the Chiefs.
Say those again.
The 5 teams ahead of the Jaguars: Buccaneers, Cowboys, Bengals, Chargers, and the Chiefs.
I don't know if I'd put the Bengals up there yet.
Bengals?
I know what they're capable of, and I know that was like a very impressive win on the Ravens. And I don't know about the Chargers, man, because head to head, that was a pretty crazy. Like that was a pretty wide result to be able to put that. But
right, but then we're in the mix of the Bengals move up 2 spots from 18 to 16. Right.
That's the semantics of all this, man. That makes it different. And I think because of the nature of the 500 and above teams, you have a fair point. I was just curious from the standpoint of like, these are teams that are looking hot right now. The Jaguars are in the 3rd seed. Very real chance to win a division. In fact, like this is anybody's division. So I assume you have the Texans in the top 10, top 12?
Texans are at Yeah, 12, exactly at 12. And so then we go like, right, do you move the Bengals ahead, the Texans, the 49ers, the Lions, and the Bills? You could make a case for the Lions with how they've been performing lately, but like, I still feel like I trust the Lions team as a whole over the Jaguars, and so it's like,
We'll only find out on Thursday. That will be our best indicator of where the Lions season's headed.
right. And so, like, I mean, so what we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 teams that we just listed ahead of them, and we're like, there's 2, maybe 3 teams that we can move them ahead of, which is in fact really crazy. And it just comes from the fact that there are so many teams that have been like just kind of garbage with the records. I mean, you have the 1-11 Titans, the 2-10 Raiders, the 2-10 Saints, 3-9 Browns, Jets, and Cardinals, the 2-11 Giants, the 4-8 Vikings and Falcons, 3-9 Commanders. Like these teams are just handing out wins to basically everybody, and so like,
yeah, my Falcons take us freezing cold. that is a bad one. That is a bad one among my other ones this year.
Yeah, and so it's tricky, and it's like it's hard to like these. I feel like harder than ranking the top 10 is like the teams that are like 12 to 18.
Oh, 100%.
Right?
Yeah. Because do you want to put the Cowboys there? But like the Cowboys look like they're one of the best teams in the league right now.
So Cowboys have won 3 straight, and we're like, wait a minute, are the Cowboys like if the Eagles fall like 2 more games and the
Cowboys win the division.
Cowboys are in a position that they could
if they beat the Lions, I think they're going 6-0 to finish the season.
Right, and all of a sudden it's like
they're doing it.
The Cowboys, because Dak Prescott has played phenomenally this year. George Pickens has been phenomenal. Javonte Williams is phenomenal.
He's outproducing CeeDee Lamb.
CeeDee Lamb, despite his drops, is still putting up pretty good numbers, and is at least it forces you to at least put
George
attention.
Pickens already has 1,100 yards. You know that?
I think I knew. I knew he's over 1,000, but that's crazy. I knew he was the league. I know he was the league leader of receiving yards for a large portion of this season. I don't know I don't think he was number 1 ever because JSN is ridiculous despite this garbage game from the Seahawks and Vikings. But yeah, and so it's like that. And then like the Bengals, it's like maybe don't quite deserve it, but I'm like, because I expected the Bengals first game with Joe Burrow back, them to kind of stink. Because I was like, oh, the Ravens are a team that's getting hot. It seems, like their defense is starting to figure it out. Lamar is going to be Lamar. And then,
I don't think Lamar's healthy, man. If you look at some of the plays he leads off of the field, like it's not like Lamar. Like I think some of the interceptions and the drops, like DeMarcus Walker's like touchdown, or Walker's touchdown. I don't know his first name. That one was not on Lamar. Like Isaiah Likely fumble, like that was not on Lamar. I think his stat line really deceived him in this game. But
yeah, but I mean, like
I don't think he's healthy overall. Like I'm pretty concerned about the Ravens right now.
Yeah, and then I mean, there's always like the talk of like, well, the Bengals start out as kind of a slow team too, and then like you have Joe Burrow coming back from his injury, so you're like maybe he has a slow start. Jamar Chase missed a week, so maybe it takes like a second for things to get going. But no, right out the gate, the Bengals just looked like a competent football team that if Burrow had been healthy the rest of the season, they're probably in this playoff push just as much as anybody else.
They're top 3 seed. The way everything has panned out, they're top 3 seed if he's healthy. Especially with the way the Steelers and the Ravens had started out. Absolutely, the Bengals are winning this division by landslide.
Yeah, so I mean they're at 15 right now, but that's my reasonings behind why they are so high is just because they look like just straight out the gate that they're going to be a competitive team, and it's like just because they're a 4-8 team, if any one of these like top 10 teams or specifically any of these wild card push teams that have to go against the Bengals over the next couple of weeks, I would be so mad at the fact that like why couldn't we just get a Joe Burrow-less season and probably win, against these Bengals? But now you got Joe Burrow and you're like, Bengals are just playing out here for pride at this point, right? Because it's a tough road
2% chance to make the playoffs.
But like the Bengals are going to be in every single game that they play with Joe Burrow, which is going to be pretty crazy. But yeah.
Alrighty.
Mm-hmm.
Perfect segue into the playoff picture here.
Yes.
Any updates on your pretenders and contenders? Go on.
Quickly before this, we had talked about like a little stat game of like I'll like to read just one player before we get into the whole playoff picture of two quarterbacks, first 6 career games, looking at their stats, and then you're going to give me player A or player B of which player you prefer. Okay. So player A, first 6 career games, 926 yards, 6 touchdowns, 10 interceptions, 54.1% completion percentage, 57 passer rating, 20 sacks. Player B, 1,051 yards, 5 touchdowns, 3 interceptions, 54% completion, 76 passer rating, and 16 sacks. I know it's a lot of numbers, but
Player B.
okay. So player A is JJ McCarthy. Player B.
I knew that. I knew that when you stated that. I was like, this has got to be JJ, isn't it? Okay.
Yeah. Who do you think player B is?
No, it's not Max. I don't know why I went to that. Can't be Sam because Sam is playing out of his mind.
Yeah, well, this is first 6 career games.
Oh, first 6. Sam Darnold? I have no idea.
Jamarcus Russell.
Oh, I heard a segment about this.
Yeah, I was like, I'm sure you heard
McCarthy is worse than Russell. Oh,
I was like, I'm pretty sure you heard this segment, but I was like, in case you hadn't, I just wanted to read this off because I'm like, that's crazy. That's crazy. And it's like the fact that Jamarcus Russell most definitely had a worse team than JJ McCarthy did during both their first 6 starts, right?
I'll say this about Jay. Like, if the reports are true that he's getting a new QB trainer, props to him. But some of the stuff you see, like, he's just not seeing the field well, and like that's. And obviously, like in a 6 QB class, like year where like it seems like everybody's like doing well, like year 1, from their own standpoint, like you're like, oh, this can't be a possibility. But there's always like there's not 100% hit rate with quarterbacks in the draft, and unfortunately, it's looking like this is not a hit. And Vikings fans, I could totally see why you're upset right now. You're like, why the heck did we move on from Sam Darnold for this dude? What I will say is give it time. I don't think it should stop Kevin O'Connell from going after Anthony Richardson. You heard what he said after the game. Like, I know it was a bold prediction a couple podcasts ago that I've made, but I would buy low on JJ McCarthy in Dynasty only from the standpoint of like how much worse can it get, and if he makes technical improvements, this is the time to strike on him. Yeah. But that's the reason why I say buy low is don't send like a 2nd round pick for him. Like, no, don't do that. The reason you want to trade for him is because if he doesn't end up panning out, like you didn't lose anything. You still have the remaining roster what it is. Like it's just a but like back to Jake, like the whole point of saying this is like he can turn it around because he's so young. But some of this is egregious. Like I feel bad for Justin Jefferson. Like I don't think he had this in mind after the season the Vikings had last year. Like, oh yeah, I'm just gonna have 2 receptions for 6 yards because JJ's concussed. But even when he comes back, I'm not looking forward to this at all. Like so. Yeah, that's wild stat, man. You got more?
That was kind of like the predominant one.
Okay.
Here's another first 5 stats, right? I mean, first 5 games, JJ McCarthy versus player B that just popped up. So first 5, JJ McCarthy is 840 yards, 6 touchdowns, 8 interceptions, 52% completion. Player B, 1,100 yards, 4 touchdowns, 9 interceptions, and 57% completion. So player B has 300 more rush yards, 2 less touchdowns, 1 more interception, and 5% higher completion percentage.
Justin Fields?
Player B is the Zach Wilson.
Wow. Yeah, that's rough.
So it's
That's
like
rough.
you're in the realm of your first 5 games are, I'd say, I guess, slightly better than Zach Wilson's first 5 career games and are worse than the first 6 career games of Jamarcus Russell. Then also, I look at the draft pedigree too, but like, I think the situation here is JJ McCarthy in like 5 or 6 years might have the turnaround that we've seen some of these other guys, because we look at these quarterbacks, right, that have seen later in their career success, and it's not like immediately after, like, it's not soon after their rookie season after being drafted high. Like, these guys are like 28, 29-year-old quarterbacks that are kind of having their careers revitalized with like Sam Darnold, Daniel Jones, whereas like it's not even right after the rookie contract that we're seeing them have like acceptable quarterback play. And so I think it'll be a long road with JJ McCarthy here. And my take as well is, I think more than trying to go for Anthony Richardson, which I still think is a project quarterback that the Vikings would end up taking on, which I don't think they'd want 2 project high draft capital quarterbacks on this team, is like almost see if you can get Mac Jones for like a 3rd round pick.
That's a good idea. I like that idea. But will the Vikings do it? That's the big question. Like, it's part of you is like, we almost have to do it, and will the 49ers give a 3rd round pick given the season that Mac Jones has had? Because you could argue he could start for a number of the bottom 12 teams that we talked about.
Yeah.
So, yeah, will be very interesting. We will never know until March. But
yeah,
let's get into the playoff picture. We've gone on an hour. This will be pretty quick. So, Corstian, any updates on your contenders versus pretenders list after 13 weeks?
Yeah, I mean, what on the AFC side, I'd say the Ravens are the biggest pretender on this list. Like, Ravens just look like a one and done team. Honestly, like, I don't even like Texans look like, with that defense, they look like contenders. Being on the outside looking in on the playoffs. I think almost the most realistic shot is maybe the Chargers miss the playoffs and then the Texans find that spot in, despite, what, the 5, 6, and 7 are all at 8 and 4. And I think the Broncos, Chargers, and Chiefs last couple of games of the season are all supposed to be pretty heavy hitters. And so I could envision a situation where the Chargers struggle these last couple of games and are out of the playoffs. And then we see the Texans sneaking at like the 6 or 7 seed. I hate myself.
You did that on purpose.
It's like my my sleeper agent, like, voice activation code or whatever.
No way.
It's so bad.
Any shot the Chiefs are making the playoffs, or are they going to end this week at 6 and 7?
I'd say Chiefs. It is they're not draft schedule. I feel like the Chiefs at this point are obviously, like, you got 2 easy matchups with the Titans and the Raiders rest of the season, but then it's like, you got
the Texans.
Oh yeah, but then you have Texans, Chargers, and Broncos left on your season, which, like, I've been dissing on the Chargers like just a second ago, but like,
they're gonna beat up on each other.
Regardless, it'll be like a competitive game. I think the Chiefs Chargers game's really, like, losing to the Texans really hurts your chances, I think. And then if you beat the Chargers, then it hurts the Chargers' chances a lot. But then, winning what, 3 of your last games still has you at like 9 wins, which isn't super positive looking, especially just the fact that I'm considering Texans a contender from the AFC. But on the AFC, what do you think?
I don't think so. I don't think they're making the playoffs this year because I look at Houston's defense and I'm like, that's real. And you can start to see the Chiefs turn it on, but then you see the Dallas game where it's just like,
Mm-hmm.
demoralizing again. Like Trent McDuffie like had a rough game against CeeDee Lamb, and you almost never see that from Trent McDuffie. Like they're one of those teams, those teams that go to the Super Bowl and lose it, like the Falcons did against the Patriots, and they were never the same team again.
Mm-hmm.
Like it feels like the Chiefs are having one of those seasons where it's like nothing is going their way. The one score wins they've had last season is completely flipped down the other side of it. And like they just got a rough schedule. Like I'm looking at the teams in the wild card spot, like Indy, maybe a pretender. Now, I don't know. Part of it's the Daniel Jones injury. That sucks. That hampers their offense more than you know. Buffalo's a contender in my eyes, even as a 7 seed.
Oh, for sure.
Like somebody from the AFC North will get in, and you have Cincinnati and like coming on strong. Pittsburgh, Baltimore. Somebody's going to take it. You just don't know who. So that really leaves you as like, are you going to overtake the Colts and the Chargers? Chargers have the tiebreaker over you right now, and you got to face them with them being 2 games ahead of you. And Indy could very well just figure it out. So it's like really, you have to beat out Indy, but then you got Houston and the Steelers to worry about. And I don't know. Like, I think they overtake the Steelers. Only reason the Steelers are ahead right now is win percentage, but I just think it's too tall of a task with the strength of schedule remaining.
Yeah, there's a chance Colts lose out.
Yeah.
Jaguars, Seahawks,
then I think
49ers,
Houston.
Jags, and Texans.
Yeah, but I think the Texans take their place. I don't see the Chiefs taking their place.
Yeah. Oh, no, I'm just saying that's just a crazy thing to think that the Colts have a decent shot at losing.
They're the number 1 seed. Like, 9 weeks.
That Daniel Jones injury does suck.
Yeah. Poor timing. But, Patriots, contender. Broncos, contender. Still worry about the consistency sometimes, but it's not. Their defense is just that real where I believe in them. Jaguars, not in that tier, a little bit lower. Chargers, I have no idea. I'm going to call them contenders until I see otherwise. Bills, yes. And then Texans, I'm with you. I'll put them as contenders right now. Even on the outside looking in, I think they're going to make a lot of noise going into it.
Yeah. Broncos did beat the Texans too earlier in the season, so hey.
Stroud got hurt. I would love to see them like remember that, bury that in their minds in the playoff matchup. That should be fun.
Yeah.
All right. NFC. I'm doing it as a homer. Bears are contenders. Eagles wouldn't proved it to me. Now, when I say contenders, I'm gonna put them a tier below the Rams and the Seahawks. But I see the Bears beating both.
There's a situation where they can.
I'm at the point where I think the Bears could beat anybody in this conference. And I wasn't there. I wasn't there halfway through the season, just because of their schedule wise. But I think they can. It would not surprise me if they pull off a Commanders and show up in the NFC Championship game. Would I love for it to be in Chicago? Yes, absolutely. Would I love them to win the Super Bowl for the first time since 1985, a full 40 years later? Absolutely. But setting my original expectations when the season started, I just wanted this team to be 9-8 because that would have shown remarkable improvement. And for Caleb Williams to grow, they're already there. In my eyes, like the progress they made, they've already achieved their season's goal. But this is even better. Them beating the Eagles proves that. So I'm moving them there. Rams, still having them as contenders despite the loss. Eagles, pretenders, definitely after that Bears loss. Tampa Bay, no idea. Seahawks, yes. Green Bay. I don't know where to put it. I am not going to put them in contenders until they win this division. If they win the division, which I will be sad to see, I will be pain to see because the Bears have a prime opportunity to not let that happen. If they win the division, I will give it to them. They're contenders. Because if I'm labeling the Bears as contenders and Green Bay goes out and beats them, I cannot just say Green Bay has no shot at winning the NFC. They're the type of team where they put it all together, they can beat anybody as well. San Fran, I want to say yes, but the defensive injuries keep me putting them a tier below. They have an amazing record, and it's kind of wacky seeing them as a 7th seed, even though they have one more win than Green Bay does. That's just the math is. I get the percentage that just confuses me.
Yeah.
Detroit, I don't know. I want to say Pretenders, but they do have key injuries. They do have key injuries, and they could have very easily tied that Green Bay game. I'm putting them tier below Contenders. Dallas, I'm ready to put them in Contenders.
Yeah.
Even the outside, I think their defense. Matt Eberflus found the players he wants to run a scheme, and the talent players to run a scheme, and their offense is Super Bowl winning. So, yep, that's where I'm at with
it. Yeah, I think I'm pretty close to you on things. I've been an Eagles hater like the entire season. Where I feel like I got bullied into putting them into the top 5 that one week because you were like, why aren't they in the top 5 yet? And I'm like, their offense just sucks. But yeah, no, I feel like, yeah, like Bears, Rams, Seahawks, I feel like contenders in my head. Obviously, I think Packers are really like in that toss-up area, kind of like with the Buccaneers. We just got to see how they play out the rest of the season. Because like also like I heard there's talks that Mike Evans might be able to come back for the playoffs. They're like thinking about potentially activating him, and it's like if you can get Mike Evans healthy enough to playing football in the playoffs, obviously that like is a whole dimension to the game. Now that you have like Chris Godwin is looking a lot better now, getting into his rhythm. He's been out a little bit, but then looks like he's good. Buka's looking good. Tez Johnson, I'm a fan of. If you get Mike Evans, that's a technical 4-headed monster. And even if Evans doesn't do much, like just him as a distraction on the field for opposing defenses, I think adds a lot to the Buccaneers game there. But that said, I feel like other teams definitely are like a level ahead of them in terms of like what I see as the team as a whole. And so, yes, I feel like 49ers are also a tricky team. Like, obviously, they beat the Browns as they should. You beat the Panthers, which I think was good for them and bad for them. The fact that I'm like, Brock Purdy just played really bad. It's like
the second interception I won't put on him. That JC Horn, we talked about this earlier, but that JC Horn interception was just him being him. Like,
yeah,
he's like, oh, I didn't see any responsibility on my side. I'm just gonna do whatever. And so getting the pick by reading his eyes.
Yeah, and so like with the 49ers, we talked about them like a couple weeks ago too, where it's like they're looking good, and I was like, oh, they should be good. But then I was like, okay, I want to see Brock Purdy have another good performance. He plays against the Panthers. While they win, they didn't play great, which has had me with the doubts with Brock Purdy still a little bit. And then they beat the Browns as they should. And so I feel like 49ers and Packers feel very similar, I guess, including the Lions. All three of those are teams where it's like they could be contenders, but they have shown at times throughout the season that they probably shouldn't be, with some of these losses. Bears, you could argue, is in that, but I feel like the Bears win over the Eagles has kind of cemented me to have them as a contender. Rams and Seahawks are obviously, I think, my top 2 NFC teams right now. And then I agree with the Cowboys being a contender if, the offense can stay rolling the way they have been rest of the season.
They have to make the playoffs, but if they do,
they do.
Tell me a division leader that wants to face the Cowboys in the wild card round. Give me one division team that wants to do that.
Yeah.
I would probably just say the Rams or the Seahawks. Like, that's it. Like, I think they could beat any other team in that conference, including the Bears, even though the Bears beat them by 17.
Yeah. So Cowboys rest of schedule, right? It is the Lions, the Vikings, the Chargers, the Commanders, and the Giants.
Okay.
And then the Eagles rest of schedule, it is the Chargers, the Raiders, the Commanders, the Bills, and the Commanders again.
I think the Cowboys can do it. I really do. After what we saw out of the Eagles and a Marcus Mariota-led Washington Commanders team. I'm sorry, Corstian, but if he just floats that over Benito, your Broncos lose. Like that's their fourth loss. Third loss. Like that's the Commanders can put points up now. Like especially with Terry and like Mariota playing the way he is. So I wouldn't rule out the Commanders games on the schedule. But the Cowboys is a different story because the Cowboys got the offense to match. I can't say that about the Eagles. If the Eagles get in the shootout, I don't trust them one bit.
Yeah, that's my issue with the Eagles too.
Wacky stat before I let you go. Speaking of Commanders, the Commanders, the Jets, and the Browns are not mathematically eliminated from the playoffs yet.
Yeah.
And they're all 3-9. How crazy would it be if the Shedeur Sanders-led Browns win the division at 8-9?
That would be something else, man. And the fact that, like, I mean, it really is just like seeing how the quarterback play holds up for them. That goes with it, because it's like, honestly, I could see Ravens and the Steelers just fumbling it all away. It almost feels like the Browns' biggest rival is in fact the Bengals to take the division.
And the one win away from the Bengals.
Yeah, it's a 4-8 Bengals is really the scariest team in that division. The Browns realistically not, but like the fact that it could happen is crazy.
Alrighty, that'll do it for us, guys. Thank you so much for watching. You can follow us on our Instagram channel at mon.a.mission. YouTube channel has our full-length videos at I'm on a mission. Corstian, anything you got to tell the viewers before we let you go?
Nothing but peace out.
See you guys later.
Yeah.